I have to go over to.
Oh, I see.
To this.
I wonder if there's maybe you can like copy paste the. All right, I could just go over here and just look at the comments.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big face.
We are live, and now.
Are we live?
See. Yeah.
We're live. Okay, cool.
And we're gonna see the people appear at some point.
All right, so if we're live, I'm going to go over to your channel.
We're not live.
Are we not?
Okay. Are we live?
I love this part at the beginning of every live stream. Are we live? Are we live?
It's supposed to be live.
Are we live? Live now.
It says offline.
Okay, there we go. Well, I'm.
Oh,
it's activated.
It's activated.
Except
all right.
Nothing's happening here. Why is nothing happening?
Yeah, we got those, and we're frozen.
We're frozen. Why are we frozen?
Maybe.
You are activated. Yes, you're live. Okay. Well, I guess we can't see it here, but whatever. That's cool. Oh, I see. Oh, I get
you have to press play.
You have to press play on the thing. Okay, cool.
Wild.
All right, so we're live here, and we're gonna look at the comments on the screen again. Pop out chat, big comments.
Okay.
Yay. More comments. Okay, cool. Hey.
All right, so we got Michael Bow. Hello, sir. Ben, what do you guys particularly like about each other's playing?
Oh, God, this is too stupid. Okay, sorry.
I can't believe how many people are here. This is wild. Okay, so what do you like about my playing? What do I like about your playing? I like the way that Adam punctuates his notes rhythmically. They feel you can get a wide range of drummy-esque punctuation out of this guy. So like if you're ever feeling a little unconfident about the groove, he backs you up with a nice boop. Yeah, it'll be, instead of like dong dong dong, it'll be like boom boom boom, and he'll give you that nice punctuation thump. And you know, and like I like the he's got a very tasteful use of effects, very subtle, really good tone.
Yeah, I like Ben's
yeah.
I like Ben's very wide sonic palette that he uses on his guitar, and I feel like his guitar playing is very much a reflection of his personality, both musically and non-musically, and I think that's really cool that he was able to find his voice on the instrument in a very, you know, I hate saying the word unique, but in a unique way, a very unique way.
Thanks.
You know, I grew up, meaning like I first heard you when you were like doing a lot of Steve Vai stuff, and like, you know, at Berkeley, you were kind of had like that reputation of like shredder, kind of shred boy, but like, you know, I've definitely seen the evolution in his playing and composition, and you know, it's definitely changed a lot more into, you know, Ben can shred, but it's shredding in the service of something a little bit bigger than the playing itself, which I think is awesome.
Thanks.
So that's us sucking each other
off. I appreciate the question and give me this opportunity to get a compliment. Makes me feel like a big boy. So thank you.
Yeah, gotcha.
Hey Ben, do you listen to any true polytonal music? I don't think so. Like Charles Ives? Is that what that means?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, Charles Ives is pretty damn true polytonal. Like
what? Yeah. What should I hear? Do you, Daniel? Do you listen to polytonal music? What do you like?
Question for Ben. To Ben, which bear is the strongest bear?
Well, I think the grizzly bear, but polar bears and grizzly bears, usually you don't see them around each other, so it's hard to like side by side them.
Yeah, you can't see the battle. There's not really going to be a battle.
They have no reason to fight. We're the enemy.
Yeah. But
they both kick your ass.
Adam, what strings do you use on your classical? I use whatever, Savares. I use whatever the most expensive strings. I hate saying that, but that's, yeah, it's like the most expensive strings. I go to the place, and they sound good. I like this Savares. I don't know. What do you think about people abusing pentatonic scale? It's my case. I don't know. I mean,
it's such an ancient, amazing scale. It's just add one more note and it's not pentatonic anymore. So like all your pentatonic boxes or whatever you're stuck in, just add one more note. Add, if you're doing the minor pentatonic scale, add the 2, and it's not it anymore. And once you've added in that one note, you're singing in the context of your box. Now you're a little bit less boxed, and then you can add the other.
Then you can add another
note. Other note, and you'd have all 7.
You could actually keep adding notes if you wanted to. You just keep adding notes.
Just take your time, slowly get out of there.
Yeah. I mean, I think the minor pentatonic scale, there's a reason why it's so popular, is because it sounds so good.
Yeah.
It's difficult to sound bad, and that can be a good and bad thing when you're learning and playing guitar or any instrument. But I think the minor pentatonic scale is a very powerful tool, and I don't think you should shy away from it just because you feel like it's not complicated enough. I feel like the desire to like break out of the box, break out of just minor pentatonic patterns, that's great. And I think Ben's point about like just adding another note, it can really do a lot. But yeah, so you got a super chat.
Thank you, Lucas Strivencheck. Are you guys into more any heavy music? Well, I am. My band Bentley opened for the Dillinger Escape Plan, and although I didn't really know much about them before we did, they quickly became one of my complete favorite bands. I think what they achieve with the heavy dynamic is like it's a really there's nothing else like it. That it's a feeling and an experience you just can't get any other way. So yeah, love them. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the heavy music that I listen to right now, I guess I don't listen to much heavy music right now. I mean, for a long time, I was really into like all the Gent, Meshuggah, Tesseract, Periphery, Manimals as Leaders. I mean, into that whole like internet scene, I guess. You know, for me, for a long time, that's like, and it still is kind of my bread and butter. So, I mean, it just depends. It really depends on where I am in any given moment. So, what I like.
EJ asked, any tips on being more confident on camera when you're really shy and introverted? This is a great question, I think, because more and more people are expected to show up on camera to express themselves, because video is really, what did you say once? It's like a disposable medium now. Like it used to take a ton of production.
So, okay, so this is my camera. This is the shooter thing that I take everywhere and I do stuff. It's a really strange, it's a different experience talking to this and actually talking to that than it is talking to a human being. So if I'm talking to Ben Levin right here, and I just put this camera right in front of him, it's not exactly the same sort of thing, because the camera, the eye of the camera, you can't focus on. You have to have this sort of glazed look almost on your face, but not glazed look, because you still have to look personable. You still have to have like a conversation with a camera. And just the more you practice that, I think literally having conversations to a camera, like, and you film them, I think, and you don't have, nobody needs to see them, but anytime you practice something, just like shutting on a guitar or whatever, yeah, it's just, you know, practice, guys. Practice, practice, practice.
And I mean, an interesting thing is when you're talking to a camera, because you have that unlimited time to say things and edit yourself, it is similar to sending text messages, and there's a certain kind of like way to feel natural when you text and way that feels unnatural. Like you quickly learn how many emojis to send certain people versus other people. Some people respond better to them and others don't, and your relationship with somebody can really impact the way that you're addressing the medium in the first place. And so I think just kind of getting a feel for like what kinds of things you like to say on camera help too. For me, I say that, you know, I mean, the common one is people use the word like a lot, or, you know, for me, I go when I'm listening to people, or there's some other like things I don't like that I do, like saying so. I'm always saying so. So yeah.
Cool.
That wasn't even
cool.
Purpose.
I do cool after everything. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Lil Adam's definitely a no emoji guy. Yeah, I don't really send any emojis. Yeah. I've learned to send exclamation points, and emails are the thing that gets people feeling like you're having a conversation, a warm, fuzzy conversation between people. And it's interesting how punctuation has actually changed over time. Exclamation points used to mean something that needed to be exclaimed, but now it's just this sort of like thing to warm up your sentences. Yeah. Like, hey, exclamation point versus hey. Like there's a different meaning in it, and it's all because of how like we interact on the internet, because we don't have the same sorts of cues from one another. Like, but video, you do have different cues. Like it's like you're talking. I don't know. It's a different thing. You just have to practice it. Anyway, let's get to more questions.
All right.
Thoughts on System of a Down? Grew up with that band.
Same. It's
Toxicity.
Amazing that there are only 3 instruments and a singer, and they get that sound.
Same thing with Rage Against the Machine, man.
Yeah.
Oh god, so good.
Big.
Yes, internet writing game is an art. Yes. Bass ESQ tips. I'm assuming you mean EQ tips, guitar EQ tips. Do you have any?
Guitar EQ tips. Well, take off your earplugs when you're getting your sound, and then put them back in again, and don't think about it for the rest of the show. Because once your earplugs are on, you should not change the EQ. And if you do your EQ without your earplugs on, it's going to kill your audience, because there's going to be way too much high end.
Yeah, bass EQ definitely turn the lows beneath everything below 60 hertz completely off, because that, unless you're dealing with some like crazy sub bass sorts of things, but most of the time the bass frequencies below 60 hertz just make things very muddy. So you can get a really full fat sound as long as you turn the super lows all the way down. I think that's a great sort of like way of just getting a clean EQ from the beginning. Any tips for a new music YouTube educator? Oh yeah, you gave me tips.
Yeah.
You gave me tips a long time ago, and I followed those tips to the bitter end.
The tippy dippy. Yeah, my tips work better for Adam than for me. Yeah, I think if you can create some sort of predictability, it's good, because people get into the habit of like not just like expecting you to show up with a video each week, but they get excited for it, and they it becomes part of their routine, and that's really good. And also, as the creator, if you're doing something every week on a schedule, it makes you get good fast, and it makes it less likely that you're going to stop doing it at some point. For me, I've gone on like a lot of twists and dips and lifts in my YouTube journey, where I was considering last year just not making videos anymore, and but Adam has been so consistent, and you can see how much it's paid off. And just,
well, I mean, to be fair, you also are in a rapidly growing indie art rock band, and having like a second career entirely from like what you do on YouTube. And I do have artistic projects, but they're not nearly as much of a time commitment as what you have. So like there's always going to be a trade-off. And even when you do music for a living, you're always going to have to trade off something that you want to do for another thing that you want to do. That's so it comes down to priorities and what you want to do. Because, you know, all the time I want to be able to do a lot more than the YouTube thing, but the YouTube thing, it definitely takes priority over everything. And, you know, I want to be able to tool exactly what I'm doing with the channel to other things. So consistency, I think, is the important thing. So if you are going to be a YouTube music educator, routinely create content for a long period of time. Sweet.
Yeah.
Any comments? Oh, geez, there's so many. I'm sorry. Like,
thank you for being here. And I mean, like, it's very exciting for me to. I know, like, most of you folks who are here now have never like even thought about me, and there's billions of people who haven't, and it's nice to know that like we're cracking into those billions of people. Maybe the music will help you out. Who knows? How important do you think perfect pitch is as a professional musician? I mean, it's nice to have it, but you don't need it. Just like, I think, you know, if you have like a $10,000 guitar, that's handy but unnecessary.
That's a great, yeah. It's perfect pitch is the $10,000 guitar of professional music. Like, yeah, sure, some people have it, and it definitely makes their life a lot easier when they're trying to play and trying to make it. But that's a great. I'm gonna steal that. That's
and
great.
For just $10,000,
yeah, just for $10,000, oh, you can do it.
Just put it in your ears, one penny at a time.
Any tips for my senior recital coming up in 2 weeks?
Ooh, congratulations!
Yeah.
Cool.
Prepare.
Yeah, I would say. Well, one thing that's really important is just to make sure you practice the songs when you're hungry. Practice the songs after you ran, because when you are hungry and when you run, that's kind of how it feels when you're actually playing and the lights are on you and your mouth is dry, and your hands are a little shakier than normal. So if you can go over the songs at different times of the day, when you first wake up, before you go to sleep, you know, any of the stuff that you're not as familiar with, make sure you're playing it after in weird physical conditions, and make sure you're hydrated and have pooped and peed before your performance.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Like the importance of what adrenaline does to your body is pretty incredible, especially when you're doing like your first big performance. And so, yeah, I like the idea about running, because you have like at least a little bit of dopamine happening. Yeah. There's something.
Thank you, Fudge Sauce. Thank you for donating to help my music career.
Fudge Sauce wrote, "This is a message to encourage others to do super chat. Ben needs coffee money." He does.
I don't drink coffee. I don't waste my money on that crap. So it is a good investment. I'll probably spend that money on a classic old dairy-free bubble tea.
That's great. That's probably better. I drink so much coffee on a given day.
I don't even drink that often, because when I have caffeine, it's really, really strikingly similar to the way people describe speed. and I can't sleep, and it's, man, I freak out. No thanks.
There might be a genetic component because my family just drinks it. It's just,
I think that has to do with maybe you guys don't have a soul.
Yeah, non-Jewish people don't have a soul. You're right.
That's what I said. That's exactly what I meant.
When you said you guys, I assumed that it meant Gentiles.
Yeah.
Gentiles.
Most people
don't have a soul.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
It has something to do with that.
If you don't have a soul, can you comment on YouTube?
There's plenty of evidence right there. Does coffee make you play faster? Yes. But not cleaner.
I mean, for me, it makes me play. It makes me rush. Yeah,
yeah, it's
not good. It's a bad situation. I really don't. I don't like the feeling, but that's how you drive 22 hours in a row.
Yeah.
And death metal on toast. Are you vegan, Ben? Yeah.
He's vegan. We had Indian food, ordered that, and
thank you to the great restaurant.
Yeah,
really great food. And thanks to Adam for lunch.
Agra Grill. If you're in the Bronx, hit up Agra Grill. This stream is brought to you by Agra Grill.
Yeah. What? This looks like a good question. Paul Falvo, Adam, on your Q&A the other day, said 5 hours of practice was extreme. What do you both practice daily, given you're at your pro levels? Well,
it depends. You answer first, and then I'll know how to answer mine.
I practice 20-minute vocal warm-ups each morning, and the rest is I have to have some time with a metronome or making something each day at the minimum, but I don't have a routine, really. If I'm being honest, I don't have a routine at the moment. I used to.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a routine at all right now. I mean, I'll go for, depending on, the best way I've ever heard it described is you have to practice for the gig that you have coming up next. So if I have a gig if there's a situation, professional situation, where I need to be really, really good at playing 16th notes on my bass for a long period of time or something like that, like I'll practice for the weeks beforehand, like at least an hour a day or something like that in preparation for the gig. Or like if I have a couple of gigs, like I'll sometimes do like singer-songwriter gigs where I play guitar or whatever. So I'll be shedding on guitar for a while. But there's so much that I like doing that I can't like condense it into like a single routine that I just keep going throughout my entire career. It just doesn't happen that way, unfortunately for me. But I definitely spend a lot of time practicing or writing or doing things every day. It's just saying what that routine is a little ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Very
to Rennie Shbone Siri, I think. Thank you very much for helping me out here.
The super chat, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. It's tough to know what to say. I'm very grateful, and thank you for doing it. That's what I mean. Yeah. It's just like I don't know if I can show enough. It's hard to like.
It's hard to feel the emotional weight when it's like there's just a thing that comes up and it's like.
Yeah. Oh. What?
Wow.
The already abstract idea.
It's already been turned, but it's really appreciated.
Tell us your story. How did you become friends?
Interesting. How did we? Okay. Well, the first time I ever met Ben, I remember it actually. It was like I was playing in an ensemble. I don't even know if you remember me. I was playing in like an ensemble ratings audition where you were like trying to level up. Like, Berkeley has this whole system where like you're supposed to like you start at being like crappy or whatever, and then like they give you a number, and then you have to like every semester like tell somebody that, anyway, it's a weird thing that they do, but you audition for a higher number. And then I was in the band that Ben was using to audition for a higher number.
Do you remember what I played?
It's like you did a slide thing. Like, I think
was it like Turkish music or?
It's like, I forget what it was, but anyway, that was the first time that I met Ben. And then we actually knew each other. We got to know each other a little bit better after Berkeley. Yeah, I don't really remember.
We have a lot of things in common, and one of our mutual closest friends, Elliot Klein, is a great guitarist in LA. I think the reason I was around you more was because I was around him.
Yeah,
and so same vice versa, obviously. And so then we got to know each other that way, and we both like the theory, like nerding out, lifelong learners thing. So,
yeah.
That's our biggest.
That's the story.
Or,
Yeah. So Elliot Klein is this guitarist, and he's shown up in a few things, and a really good friend of mine, and Ben's, ours, our good friend Elliot. But like there's a place in Boston called the Record Company, and Elliot was recording like an album or something. I think that was the first time I really hung out with you, and that's when like Ben said to me, because I had a channel at the time, like, listen, this is what you need to do. You need to do the thing and the thing. And it's like, okay, and then yeah.
Well, I'm lucky that I was the one who gave the advice, because I get like a little bit of credit for something that I really shouldn't have any credit for, because ultimately, like, you know, everyone knows. Anyone who doesn't know, Adam's videos are the best. They're like the best music education videos I've seen.
Thank you.
And that's the secret. You gotta make them damn good.
You gotta make them good.
Thank you, Michael Bell. Do you think Jacob Collier is an alien? Definitely not. The thing that he's able to do is completely within the grasp of a human who has worked hard from an early age.
Yeah, I don't. This is the thing about Jacob Collier, and really anybody now that I've like been through the whole thing, and like now that I've learned how, oh shit, my strings are boiling.
Oh yeah, he boils his bass strings. Have you heard of this? It makes them fresh. When they're like gunky, it gets all of the finger crap off of them. Here you go. This is
fresh strings.
Gotta wash your hands in that.
All right, I'm gonna do this real quick.
So. Yeah, but yeah, I think what Jacob Collier does is a reasonable thing to expect a human to be able to do. Of course, he's like on the outlier level of being able to do music. But yeah, I wouldn't think he's an alien. Let's see. Yeah, boiling strings works. I believe it. Yeah, bass strings are expensive, and
this is what I do, and it's not like I can't afford new strings. It's just I never remember to buy them. So this is just what I sometimes have to do. And we're about to record some stuff later. So
a guy named Gromegas asked if we ever go through a phase where we are looking at other artists who are amazing to us and we feel inferior, which I think applies nicely to that.
To Jacob Collier
thing.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Yeah.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think I'm at the stage right now where I know what it is that I do well. So what I'll do is I'll look at another artist and be like, damn, I can't do that. Like, that's ridiculous. I need to practice for a long time. But then I also can look back and honestly say, like, hey, well, you know, they're doing their thing, but at least I can go and do my thing too. And, you know, having that sense of self-worth, having your sense of self-worth tied to your ability on your instrument is kind of damaging in the long run, meaning like your ability compared to somebody else's. So I understand it. It can be very frustrating when you see, and it still is frustrating when I see Jacob Collier do his whole thing. It's just like, oh, come on, guy. Seriously, chill out. Well, but yeah, anyway.
When I first saw Jacob Collier with his music theory interview, it got me excited about practicing again.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that's something that I think is a good way of looking at it. I mean, the thing is, you have to compromise in some aspects of your life, because music is bigger than any one human. There's no one who will actually master it. And Jacob Collier, I have boundless good things to say about him, but there are things that I hear that he does that someone else can do it better. Like, you know, certain things, like he couldn't do the Dillinger Escape Plan, for example.
I don't see him going and doing that.
Yeah, and like, why should he feel bad that he can't do that? And why should they feel bad if they can't do what he does? Like, no one should feel bad there. But like, you know, no matter how good the musician is, there's like bounds. There's bounds to all this. And so I think, yeah, you get an idea, as Adam was saying, of what you do well, and you can choose to further invest in that or branch out. But it's a little less painful to swallow the fact that you're not as good as everyone else, or that you're not the best at anything you do, when you realize you're just you're still a unique collage of things, and you got your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yeah, I understand that feeling though. Cool. Any questions jump out at you?
Let's see.
Paul Simon or Beach Boys or Elvis Presley or Frank Sinatra? Do you have a preference for these?
Oh, Paul Simon or Beach Boys okay.
How would you rank these?
Well, I like Paul Simon and Beach Boys better than Elvis and Frank Sinatra. I like Paul Simon's Graceland a lot.
Yeah.
I like I like the depth of the lyrics. I mean, Paul Simon and Beach Boys, you've got some.
Oh man. Yeah.
I think much deeper hitting stuff.
Yeah, Frank Sinatra, half of it can be really great because the way that his vocal phrasing is pretty subtle and pretty incredible on a lot of different things. Glad to Be Unhappy is a personal favorite of mine. They're very simple but very like artfully done. But when you compare it just like to the artistry of like Paul Simon or the Beach Boys, it's like, yeah, they're definitely on a different level. Elvis, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think Elvis is like, you really have to be in the context of the time to be blown away by the things that are most amazing about Elvis. I think, like, I mean, just there's nothing edgy about it anymore, and that's.
And then you're just left with like what the actual thing is, and then like I can't help falling in love with you. I like that falling.
It's pretty.
That's a nice one. Yeah. Why? What?
Can't help falling in love with you.
Cool.
That's a nice cadence, definitely.
Yeah, I was going to harmonize, but then I thought you were going to harmonize, and then we just did a unison and look like assholes.
Snow Surfer 251 is asking, how do you feel about my album Life and Back? I don't know if he's heard the whole thing.
I don't think I have.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to start listening to it. Oh, actually, if we listen, is it on an album?
It's
on a label?
No, it's okay. Mine, but yeah, it should be no problem. But
do you want to listen to it?
I mean, it's all right.
Okay.
I like it, so maybe Adam will like it, but there's no no need for you like. That's my hip hop album.
Oh, okay, yeah. I haven't checked that out yet. When did you release it? I remember.
Beginning of 2016. What is it now? 2017? Yeah, beginning of 2016. But yeah, you can hear it if you want.
Yeah, I will.
We don't listen to each other's music as much as we'd like to, I think.
I definitely have checked out everything Ben Nee has done because I mean I feel like and it's one of these things like it's so much music to pay attention to. There's so much.
Yeah. I like the band. What was the album called that you did with Elliot and Sean that I played a solo on live? And the guy from Europe.
Oh yeah, that was Inside Outside. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool album. I've only heard it like twice, but you know, I'd like to hear it more. But
Renique Bonchirik, I just wanted to hit him up again because he did that one. What do you think about Creative Commons music? Do you mean like the
music that anyone can
use? Is that just Is that
and like how it affects maybe how it affects like people making money as composers?
Yeah.
I mean, like I wish that people would make money for recordings. Like I wish that there was a system set up where, you know, making an album was a really lucrative venture, but I think there are two things that you can count on in music. You can count on live performance and you can count on education as being things that people pay for.
Yep.
It's really hard. I can't really imagine a like super intelligent AI scenario where one-on-one teaching is devalued.
Although who knows? Like, I mean, things change so quickly. I mean, like 15 years ago, the world was a very different place than it is now. So I can only imagine that 15 years from now, something crazy is going to happen. But I think the idea of just having that ability, Creative Commons, can definitely go a long way. Like to also like promoting the free exchange of ideas.
If the goal is to have great music to listen to all the time, you need people to be inspired to make great music, which takes a whole lot of work and resources. It takes a lot of practice. So there needs to be a system where people are really inspired to go that extra leap. And right now, money is one of the things that inspires people, but like just being able to make it your full-time thing, just time is the biggest thing. If people have a lot of time to dedicate to something, then they can get good at it, and otherwise they can't. So you have to be able to compensate people for time somehow. So if there was like a basic income or patronage system, then I think you could make everything public domain as soon as it comes out. But if people are making money through their intellectual property, then I don't think it'd be a good future. Yeah,
it's interesting. But there's a lot in it. But we do have another super chat. So
thank you, Toasters97, saying, Mr. Bon Lavin, I love Ben knee, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Courtney, the singer from Benton's, gig in Oregon. She's on tour in the West Coast in a few days. It's a good week for concerts between her and the Deer Hunter. Also, hi Adam, I love you. Thank you. We are going to be on tour again in March next year, and hope to see you there. And I think Courtney's show is going to be incredible. Thank you so much.
Courtney's great. I love everything she's done with Bentley, and yeah.
Her solo album just came out. I can point you to it again.
Ben's going to get so.
Hey, it's a chance to promote my pal.
Go buy this thing.
A very nice solo album. Courtney.
Oh yeah, the amount of like time and energy you guys put into like the packaging.
Growing Pains by Courtney Swain.
Like the packaging is always so nice. I guess this one's a little bit simpler than
handwritten stuff in there, and this classic artsy fartsy. So
yeah,
good stuff.
Another super chat comes in. I guess this is more for Adam, but it could be for both of you. What are your tips for singing and playing bass at the same time, or musical multitasking in general?
Thanks, Ben Goodman.
It's a great question, and I think actually Ben Leuven.
That's me.
Has more experience with that than I do. Whenever I've had to like sing something, like especially singing backup vocals or whatever while playing bass, it always comes down to knowing where, like literally breaking it down to know where each syllable lies with every part in the bass. And it requires a very, very much segmenting your brain the same way that like drummers will segment their brains. It's not even segmenting your brains. It's just breaking it down so you know when something needs to happen when. Yeah. So like kick drum needs to happen here when the snare and blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing. You need to break down exactly which syllable you sing when lies and what part of the beat with your bass. That's whenever I've done it.
Yeah, same here. It's all about where the things line up, because if you think about it as two separate things, you really don't have the capacity to do that. It's like if I'm thinking about the guitar and then thinking about the voice, trying to think about them at the same time, it's weird, but hearing them as one connected thing, as Adam was describing, that's the key, I think.
Yeah,
really slow practice. Syllables by syllables, great.
Yeah, it also, one thing I've noticed is that it's easier to go on autopilot with guitar. I feel like for like strum guitar and singing versus playing bass line, you have to intellectualize the bass line a lot more, I feel like, because there's more space. You're physically doing less when you're playing bass than when you're playing guitar. When you're strumming certain patterns on guitar, you can break it down a little bit more. Like, this is the movement that I make while I'm feeling this rhythm, versus on bass is like thump, and then you're doing nothing for a while. It's not like really in your body the same way.
Like if you're gonna sing quarter notes over 7, for example, though, it would be tricky on bass. But yeah, like you can do that if you think about the 7 to 4 relationship as one thing instead of two things.
Cool.
I see a funny one, but I don't want to say it out loud because everyone will get silly like that.
This one?
No, that one. But I like this one. I just got diagnosed. Okay, let's see it. Let's hear it. Okay, this I have something to say about. Yeah, Chris asks about tour food. I just got diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome where I can't eat 99% of food at restaurants. How would you survive on tour with something like that? It's a great question. I know several people who have Crohn's who tour. And bring some portable rice cooker or thing that prepares food, and try to go to grocery stores and make your food in your wherever you're staying to prepare yourself like snacks. And then like, what is the 1% of stuff you can eat? Like, there's got to be, I mean, you eat stuff like there is stuff you can eat. You just got to make sure like you're plan that out in advance. I mean, it's definitely possible. Like you shouldn't not go on tour because of it. You should instead maybe
I feel like there would be a lot of tour prep beforehand. I feel like just of things prepared that you can eat, but I have never been on like any long period. Honestly, the longest I've been on tour is maybe like 4 or 5 days, and this guy has gone on some pretty grueling stretches. So I think he would be the person to talk about.
I mean, I know that the people who I know who have Crohn's who tour, they have to deal with it, and they manage to. So maybe I don't know exactly what to do, but I can tell you.
But
like,
you're vegan and on tour,
That's true.
and through the middle United States, I'm sure that's can be a pain.
Yeah, like vegans, vegans all right because like there are a lot of foods made specifically for vegans. So if you do get into a grocery store, you know, you get yourself a bagel, get yourself some carrots, get yourself some peanut butter, get yourself some juice, some
you get like nuts, like seeds,
yeah,
and all that,
exactly,
all the good stuff.
You can get, there's like always like tofu things, most Thai food, you know, just like most Asian food, there's a way.
So lick, everybody's asking for the lick.
Oh yes, that's the right.
No, I do not know what the lick is.
No.
Oh,
is that,
guys,
are you gonna lick my hand?
No, no. Okay, so the lick. So the lick is an inside joke. I'm glad that everybody is experiencing me tell Ben about the lick. The lick is an inside joke among jazz musicians. There's a video that somebody made of just this as a compilation of everybody playing this one lick.
Oh, can I guess it?
Yeah, what is it? No, that's another one. There's actually
like,
there's actually
no,
it's
okay, that's your, you use that as a transition.
Exactly, yes, and that's a joke. And here's the weird things: like people are now recognize it as my transition rather than like this in joke.
That's so
like,
funny.
Which is fucking ridiculous.
What's this?
Well, I think this was the. Oh yeah, we missed this.
Hello,
okay.
Cow Skitty. Thank you.
Chaos
Kitty.
Cow Skitty.
What was the question then? I just want to thank you both, true educational inspirations. Ben, your vid on Indian rhythms transformed how I look for new ways to express concepts. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that Indian rhythm. That's probably one of your more popular videos.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. It's like number 3. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
a good one.
I have a pretty superficial knowledge of that stuff, and there's so much you can do with it. It's a really deep thing. You know, really, you get a lot of payback for the time you spend with it. Yeah.
Is Aiden Essen as good as Rick Beato says? Oh, Aiden Essen. Do you know this guy?
No.
He's a friend of Rick Beato's, and he's this Turkish pianist. And I saw him like Rick did this masterclass in New York, and Aiden Essen came in, and he's definitely a guy that is pretty insane. He improvises basically everything he does, and I feel like Aiden Essen, you need to catch him on the right night, because the night that I saw him, he was good. It was like the really crazy things he was coming up with and improvising, and he basically does these crazy deconstructions of standards. That's all he does. He just sits down and just starts doing it, and you can hear it. But I've seen some videos of him from like the 80s, and it's just like nuts. It's absolutely like otherworldly what he's able to like do just with it. So I think that I just didn't see him like on his like on night. And you know, when you're going into something completely improvised, you know, you kind of, it's, you know, that's the thrill of it. Like who knows how, you know.
And there's a learning curve for like who you're dealing with, who you're playing with. So even the best improviser in the world doesn't necessarily sound their best every night, because you gel with different people, different environments in different ways. That's cool.
Sorry.
Thank you to Kylan Lehua. Thank you very much. Any advice for musicians struggling with hearing loss or damage? Taking a voice class seems to have helped me so far with recovery. Well,
hearing loss or damage. Well, the best I think is just preventative, although that's not super helpful for you.
Right.
I know that there are companies which make I forget what the company is, and I know Andrew Wong, the YouTuber, has one of these things where it's basically a way of correcting hearing loss or correcting like frequencies which have been damaged from the cilia. These like little things that go in your ear. I know that helps. I know that's not like the greatest thing of like promoting a product to like say like, hey, you should buy this thing. But yeah, I haven't had too much hearing loss. I mean, I've had like the top end chopped off, like above 15K, but beyond that, I don't know.
But the second part of the question, taking a voice class seems to have helped me so far with recovery. That's interesting. So is it, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, that's referring to like being able to sing like quieter, or
yeah, I don't quite understand taking a voice class,
or is it for speaking? Like, I'm not sure. But I guess, yeah, I mean, what Adam said. Just try to take care of yourself.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not. Yeah. Sorry to like interrupt there, but like it's hard to say anything without being. Yeah. It's hard to say that without sounding glib. Like, oh, you should have done it. It's also hard because I don't know if I have any good advice, and it's a difficult advice unless you go to like an actual like doctor. Like imagine that, an ENT that would be able to give you a little bit more pointed information. But
I guess one thing is, you know, we're all in bodies that deteriorate in some way. So like part of being a lifelong musician is adapting to your biological changes and deficiencies. So like I wouldn't consider if I have hearing loss, I mean, it's upsetting, but I wouldn't consider myself doomed to not participate in the great joy of music or anything like that. You know,
of course, yeah.
So I mean, at least in terms of your perception, it's like something's gonna go at some point anyway. So like preparing your mentality and working with what you got.
For sure. One more super chat. Yeah,
Pharmaceuticals music. Thank you so much. Hey guys, love both of your channels. Wow. For both of you. Where does the determination to practice come from? How do you keep this motivation over a long period of time in order to keep practicing?
For me, it's the fear of sucking on stage. That's a big one. The fear of sucking on stage and then it making to YouTube. By the way, there's some stuff on YouTube. I'm not going to tell you the keywords to search for, but some of my earlier stuff made it up there, playing with singer-songwriters I don't care about, and it's up there, and it's bad. But anyway, yeah, so that's fear is a big one, but another thing is, you know, I like doing it. I like playing music. It's hard to say, like, it's hard to say if I'm how to keep motivated when you actually like doing the thing. But yeah.
I think that a big part of staying motivated is put yourself in situations where you're going to get constructive criticism and try to get yourself to enjoy receiving constructive criticism, because when you feel yourself really improving and you're not stuck in a state where you're fooling yourself thinking that you're like already the shit or something, if you put yourself in a point where you're getting that criticism, it really inspires you to keep digging deeper. Nobody loves getting constructive criticism, but ultimately if you can like step back and look at like what are the things that make your life better, it's usually knowing what's really there and addressing reality, and getting constructive criticism puts you in touch with reality better. So, you know, if you've ever been in a crumbling relationship, it's often because of fictions that you guys have a bad understanding of each other, or that you're covering up some truth. You know, like the more veils you put in front of your face, the worse. So it's more fun to be a musician who kind of can see his or her flaws and really address them. So
that's
get good criticism.
That's a much more beautiful way of thinking about it than fear of sucking on stage.
Oh, well, no, if you hadn't said it, I would have. You know, that's a big one. That's a big one.
So, hey Ben, hearing Freak Machine for the first time was an important moment for me. Definitely one of those. Wow, I didn't know this is music was possible sort of things. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's Regular Gonzalez. I appreciate that.
You got all kinds of fans.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, when I make music and put it in onto the internet, my hope is that it will reach the people who need it, but no one knows they need it till they get it. That's how it is with me and my favorite artists. Is like, I didn't know I needed, you know, Kendrick Lamar so badly till Kendrick Lamar appeared in my life, and I didn't know that I needed, you know, like Eighth Blackbird Ensemble, and like, you know, so it's basically mission accomplished when I get feedback like that. So appreciate it.
Adam, how was Berlin? Berlin was awesome. Berlin was great. It was a really interesting city. We spent time in Friedrichshain, I think, and like, it's cool. I really enjoyed it. So.
Seems like a fun reason to be there too.
Yeah, I was giving a talk at Loop, which is Ableton's festival, and I'll do more stuff about it. But yeah, Loop was wild. Hopefully, I'm gonna be doing like some more master classes. Maybe not in Berlin, but soon. I'm trying to set that stuff up right now. So, is it bad that my friend was asked to leave a jazz jam for playing the lick? No, he probably deserved it.
Oh, how do you guys move on stage? I like that question. Jesus Guzman, how do you?
Yeah, no, I know you've gotten much more animated over the years.
I've been told that I look bored while playing bass, no matter how hard it is what I do, and that's not good because enjoying is part of it. But I'd feel like an idiot moving.
Well, I'll say this: John Entwistle just stayed completely still the entire time when Pete Townsend was doing this, and like Roger Daltrey and everything of the Who. He was just like this the entire time. So everybody has a different approach, and normally it's the bass player standing utterly still. So yeah, it's just part of the thing is that people hear with their eyes a lot of the time, and that means like the way that they know to enjoy your music is if you're enjoying it too, and the more you can turn that into a performance is good. I definitely need to work on that, but you know, that's a big part of it.
I think different people have a different truth with, it's a subjective thing with what's the right stage presence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's true for me that if I'm being real, I'm moving a lot. And for other people, if they're being real, they're staying still. But then some people move a lot because of a nervous, like, feeling that if they don't move a lot, that's bad. And some people stay still because of a nervous feeling that if they move a lot, they'll look stupid. Those aren't the good reasons.
Yeah.
So you should do what you think. You should do the former reasons, where what you think is like right for the music right now and right for you. I am super animated on stage, but I can't stand still when I'm just standing online at the post office. I'm a swayer. What's it called when I'm a pacer.
Yeah.
I pace. If I get on the phone and I'm talking and I have to focus at all.
Walk around,
you know, and anytime I'm really invested in like my thought process and I'm not doing something where I have to hold still, I'm moving around. And also when I saw the Dillinger Escape Plan perform, you know, at Further, them and Steve Vai are just examples of some folks that have influenced me a lot, where their motion is a dance. It's dancing to the music, and it puts out towards the audience the like exact feeling of the energy the music's supposed to have. You know, but if you did the same stuff that like the singer from Dillinger does in, you know, Snarky Puppy, it would be ridiculous. It'd be stupid. And like people have a great time at Snarky Puppy shows. I don't think they jump around that much.
Well, yeah, because it's jazz and jazz is boring. But
with a hook, with a twist.
It's jazz with a twist.
Yeah.
What is your favorite microtonal tuning? I've been getting into 22-tone equal temperament recently, but that's just my thing. Do you have a favorite microtonal? Or do you?
I just like. There's a preset on Keyscape that I like, which is half step, quarter step, half step, quarter step, half step.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
You guys missed the super chat? Crap. Oh yeah, we did.
Oh, thanks. Thanks so much.
That guy from earlier.
That guy from earlier, right?
Yeah.
Tips on how to take breaks. It seems like all my time is shedding, transcribing, composing, or watching theory vids. It's cool, but I get burned out.
Okay, that was a song that we just did called Shedding and Transcribing and Composing and Watching Theory Vids. Okay.
Yeah. I would take a break. I would take a break every 40 minutes. I think if you're working on the computer, I'd stop typing every 20 minutes for 5 minutes. Those are just kind of good numbers. 40 minutes of practicing, 20 minutes of breaking.
Get up, walk around, pace around, go on the phone, have songs, make songs.
You want to break before you start feeling tired, before you start feeling physically sore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this idea of like Muhammad Ali, what he said about he doesn't start counting his push-ups or whatever till after he can't do anymore.
Yeah.
Something like I think that probably works for boxing, but I think with music, it's like, you know, you can only be so effective at like, you know, practicing a technique or whatever. If you, you know, if you go for 5 hours like Adam did with that video of him practicing for 5 hours, it's, oh dear.
Oh, sorry. I'm just involving the cat.
Got a little bit here. It's just, no, I can't resist. But yeah, it's important not to make how long you practice an ego thing. for me, I was practicing like 12 hours a day at one point, and like it wasn't like I was getting better for 12 hours a day. It was just something I was doing to make other people think I was a genius or something.
Well, I even said that in the last Q&A. It was like, you know, I did this live stream where I just practiced for 5 hours without a break, and kind of to prove like, one, how ridiculous it was, because I was trying to do focused, meaningful practice for 5 hours straight, where I was working on a new thing and really focused on a new thing, going through every permutation of everything and just really focusing on it, and just how like draining that was and how ridiculous it was. Like it wasn't particularly useful. Sorry, I'm just the cat doesn't like me.
Hey, Quist Jam is here. I like your backing tracks. Thanks for all that hard work making. I give backing tracks to to my students a lot too, as things to practice over, and it's cool how consistent you've been for a long time. Thanks for checking in.
I hate death grips. I lose respect for anyone who listens to them, especially those who praise them. Here's why: I have 20 successful people that listen to them. Pop runs the show.
Thank you. All right, I'll talk about that. So the notion there is that the successful people are the ones that have, rather than 1 million fans, 100 million fans. That's a funny definition, because Death Grips has like 1 million people at least know about Death Grips.
Death Grips
They're incredibly famous, and so therefore they are 26. They are among the 20 people I would name that are super successful that listen to them. So I guess I don't know. I don't understand. Well, I guess I do understand, but
I mean, I guess that it was
I just disagree with the premise.
Yeah, it's also like the shit I get asked about Death Grips the most, probably out of like any band, Death Grips, Wolfpack, and Snarky Puppy.
Do you think that's because they're like really present on YouTube?
Yeah, and it's like they have such a good like meme presence or whatever, but. And what I've heard is cool. They're really aggressive. It's really interesting music. It's just fucking cool. But like, I almost can't talk about it, because then it's such a like a, I don't know. It's there's people have such an opinion about Death Grips.
Yeah.
Weirdly, for I don't know.
It's just you know, for someone like Death Grips, it really doesn't say anything about who they are.
Yeah, that's true. And it doesn't say much. Like
it's just like
you like Death Grips. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, people like them, but you know.
But that's another interesting thing, is like, does your identity need to be based upon what kind of music you like? And I feel like that's something that doesn't happen so much anymore as it used to definitely happen, like in the 70s or whatever. Or like what you listen to really kind of defined your social clique. Like the punk people like had to listen to punk, and you know.
I mean, it's nice if your friends like the same music as you, but it's not a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Chuck Berry wants to know what The Gods Are All Right is about. And hey, Adam, bass. Gods Are All Right is a song that I wrote with Mike Neely, and it's about it's about all these different authorities that we worship that are all fallible and capable of breaking down, and how at the end of the day, you're your own god.
That's a good sentiment. Yeah. Shout out to the shit posting of Jazz to Come. Oh, it's a meme group that I'm post on Facebook. It's just shitty memes about jazz.
Jazz to Come.
Jazz to Come. Yeah, shit posting of Jazz to Come. And will you create something in Ben's public domain guitar solo? Maybe. We were just talking about what he's planning on doing with those submissions. It's actually pretty cool. Some of the ideas. Yeah.
Igor is a good guitarist.
Oh, is it? Oh, cool. Yeah. Sick. Hey guys, love both your channels, especially Democratic Chord Video. Have you heard of Sir Peter Maxwell and his Magic Square compositions? I've heard of Magic Square, maybe, but I don't know who that is, and the guy who did that. So maybe we should actually record the video that we're going to record.
We're going to make a movie.
So thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, and thanks to Adam here for getting an absurd amount of people to pay attention to what I'm doing. And thanks to everyone who asked questions that I'm sorry I couldn't answer. We can't answer all of them today, but I hope that the ones we did answer were useful and interesting. Sorry. My hands smell like pee. I hope it was useful and interesting.
Now it smells like pee.
Not the worst fate. I hope the
It's pretty
answers were
bad
interesting
fade.
to you. It's smelling like pee? Thousands of people do it.
Smell like pee? I mean,
It's
okay.
just what happens. It's
Okay.
just how it goes. Well, to everyone, thank you so much. Yeah, hope you had fun.
Okay. Bye. All right.